a society that's not based strictly in survival. When we get in touch with those primal energies of survival, that's very underworld for us. A lot of that kind of fear of survival and that really kind of primalness really strikes what today we think of as that great below. We have to kind of tap into that. So the robe, what does the robe do? It covers our body. In alchemy, the stage that's associated with this is calcination. Calcination means burn to bone. To burn to bone means basically to reduce it to its purest ash. So you're applying fire. And a lot of people describe, particularly in Christian mythology, the underworld as fire. And the original intention came from Sanskrit. It was a purifying fire. It wasn't about torture. It was about applying that fire to get to that essential, which is that bone, which is burning down to ash. So in alchemy, they would take herbs, they would take metals, and they would heat them to the powder, to the most purest form. They'd burn away all impurities. So that's that process that's going on over there. In the miracle of bread, it's called plowing. You have to plow open physical earth. You have to kind of get towards that underworld to plant your seeds. You can't open up the earth. You can't get the seeds. So and the planet that's associated with it is Saturn. Saturn is our karma. Saturn is our darkness. Saturn is our lead. If you're Christian, Saturn is your sin. Saturn is all the things we try to resign to the underworld and forget about. The next stage is the belly. The belly is associated with Jupiter. The belly chakra is our connection, our instinct to people. That umbilical cord. Do I feel safe with you? Do I not feel safe with you? Do I feel like we have some type of intimacy and resonance? But it's very important. It's very guys. It's the intestines. What do the intestines do? But they either absorb things that are good for you, or they push out poison and waste. So they discern. The belly's about that discernment. Jupiter has this very expansive quality, but it's also about kind of caretaking and nourishment. Jupiter's that sky father that shelters and protects and nurtures. We didn't have the sky around us, Earth would just be barren rock. So it's that kind of sheltering force. In alchemy, this is known as dissolution. So big, after the fire comes water. It's this big emotional process, because what's water and magic but emotions? It's this big emotional process, this catharsis, this crying kind of depression that you can go through, that sweeps away, that clears, that dissolves the ash. Anything that's pure in the ash will dissolve in the waters of emotion. Anything that is impure will sink to the bottom and needs to be wasted out. You know what they call the waste in alchemy? Feces. It's kind of like what the intestines do. What do? They absorb food and they pass out feces.
So what was that called?
The water's dissolution. Like a solution, but dissolving. And the miracle. It's a little bit of a different root of the word, a little bit of a different etymology to it. The miracle of bread for this is planting the seed. And we also have the belly chakra associated with reproduction. The belly chakra particularly associated with the womb, where that seed, where that embryo will grow. So it has that parallel to it as well. If you're going to grow plants to make bread, you have to plant the seed, open up the earth, and you plant the seed. The next stage, the tool the goddess uses is that cord. Well, what is the womb? What is the belly? What is safe space that we're associating with this? But for a witch, the magic circle that gets measured out by the measuring line. The temple that the mason measures out by the sacred line and rock. So it's that safe space the belly's about. Do I feel safe? Often the magic circles described as a cauldron or a womb, where we create our universe and then project it out for our stone. So it has that cognate to it. So when you're doing circle work, in many ways you're doing your temple work, you're doing belly work. You're containing the emotion, you're containing the energy, containing those forces. The solar plexus deals with Mars. The solar plexus for Ainana dealt with the ring. And an interesting question I always, and for people who are here for Dorothy's class on Swamp Retreat, the idea of the ring being on what hand? I always describe it as the right hand versus the left hand. There's a lot of lore right now, a lot of debate on describing good traditions as right-handed traditions and bad traditions as left-handed traditions. And when people ask me, what hand tradition are you? I say, well, I come from a music background, and to play a good instrument, you need both hands. There's creation, destruction to it. I think there's unmaking and making to it. I think there's separation and union to any type of spiritual work. I think you've seen both sides of it. I think if someone's really going to classify my theology, it would probably be right-handed at the end. But the idea is that I think we need both sides of everything. Things are not just black and white. Things are not just left-handed and right-handed. Everything is about attraction and repulsion through this process. But I always ask, where are you, if your ring or your bracelet directs your power, Where's your ring or bracelet right now? Some traditions change the ring based on the phases of the moon. You know, I originally learned, although I don't do this anymore, but I originally learned that you have your pentagram ring from the 2nd degree, and it points out when the moon is waning, and you put it on your left hand and have it point in when the moon is waxing. So are you recognizing these cycles of energy? The alchemical process over here is separation. So the separation is taking the solution and separating out the feces. The idea of kind of making a boundary, making a barrier. When we think of the solar plexus, what is that really? A lot of people describe this as anger or fear, but it's really that place of where do I stand strong and make a boundary? It's either power over self, power someone has over you, or power you have over someone else. The ideal situation is power over yourself, so no one can have power over you, and you can act from an authentic manner. But that's that boundary. Sometimes people that act in an authentic manner, you have to separate yourself from somebody, or you have to say, no, this is unacceptable, or yes, this is what I'm going to do. But there's that separation and division. This is where my boundaries are, these are where your boundaries are. So there's that direction. Sometimes that stop literally is that stop. Stop is the bracelet, stop is the hand. Now it's interesting we associate this with yellow, and the yellow or the gold green. The miracle of bread quality to it is what they call green corn. Well, what is green corn? And when they say corn in the European traditions, they mean wheat, they mean barley, they don't mean maize, but you could use maize as well. The green aspect of it is immature. And when we're rooted at the solar plexus, although we have power, although we have growth, we're still kind of immature compared to the upper levels. So I always remember when I'm operating from that solar plexus, am I really being the most mature I can be in this process, or is there another way I can take this? Sometimes you do have to operate from that place, but it's recognizing the quality of the energy. It's green, it's immature. As we rise up into the chakras, the heart chakra, Pranayama was the breastplate. The breastplate we think of as a piece of armor, which can be protective of the heart. But in the ancient world, it was much more like a girdle. Sometimes it was encrusted or bejeweled. We think of, like, in the Old Testament, the breastplate of the high priest. In fact, in our tradition, we make little pouches that hang over the heart with 12 stones for the 12 zodiac, so we can bring the heavens and the 12 signs to the heart, to the earth space. In alchemy,